I want to know, Ray, can Matthew Stafford keep up his quarterback one pace? Because Matthew Stafford is playing electric football right now. Matthew Stafford is the QB6 overall in fantasy football, despite being drafted as the QB 25 on average in Yahoo leagues. Only Daniel Jones is out producing his ADP from the summer more among top 10 scoring quarterbacks, because guess what? He wasn't being drafted in Yahoo leagues. Now, typically we think we need rushing efficiency, right, from our top 10 quarterbacks in fantasy. But if you're going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback without that rushing ability, which Matthew Stafford absolutely does not have at this point in his career, if he ever had it, you need to be white hot as a passer. Good news, Ray Garvin. Matthew Stafford is white hot as a passer. To put a finer point on that, his last 2 games of 389 passing yards and 375 passing yards are his 2 highest marks since joining the Rams in 2022. Matthew Stafford's been with the Rams in a minute. We've seen his best performances right now. He's thrown for 3+ touchdowns without an interception just 5 times in his 4 seasons with the Rams. 2 of them have been these last 2 games. So my question to you, Ray, this level of passing production, which allows a pocket quarterback to be an elite fantasy asset, is that going to keep up, or is this just a 2-week blip on the radar here?
Hey, let me be very careful with how I frame this. Whatever shots Matthew Stafford got taken to his back over the summer, I need them when I get older. I need them same shots to my back when I get older, because boy,
you need the immortal chamber.
Listen, there was a point where there was real concern. There was real concern about him even being on the field come week 1. Let alone here in week 6. No Jonah Jackson. They're doing this. Matthew Stafford's back is messed up. Can he even get the ball to Puka Nacua? I can't tell you what's going to happen in week 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12. But I can tell you over the first month of the season, he's looked incredible. And here in week 6, you know who the Rams get? You know who the Rams get to play? The honor and the privilege face off against the Baltimore Ravens. They get the Baltimore Ravens. C.J. Stroud just looked like a damn Hall of Famer versus Baltimore last week. I believe it continues here in week 6. I think they have the offensive environment, the setup, the structure. Did you see the play? Did you see the behind the scenes or on the sideline clip of him going to Tutu Atwell before that deep over route? And he drew it up. Spins out intentionally to allow Tutu to get the separate. This is a quarterback that's dialed in. This is a quarterback that's locked in. And a lot of times the tweet on the screen, yeah, he's in the chamber, right? He's there. This is what has Stafford performing like an MVP. Whatever that is, I need that right there. But man, it's the threat of this receiving game. Normally you're like the threat of the running game opens up the receiving game. It's the threat of Puka Nacua and the combination of Devontae Adams are just opening everything up for Matthew Stafford, and he is hyper-targeting those guys. He's finding his spots to hit a Tutu Atwell down the field, and Kyren Williams is productive out of the backfield when he holds on to the football. Yeah, Matthew Stafford looks incredible right now. Like, he looks like he is playing like Detroit Lions. He's turning Puka Nacua into a Triple Crown winner, 37 years old again. Whatever shots to the back he got, we all need some of those.
Yeah, Ray, I don't know I can't remember where you're located again, but I was looking up after Thursday night, like a mortal chamber near me. You know, I was pumping that into Google. Like, where is there an amortal chamber near me? Unfortunately, not in my area of Southeast Virginia here. There's not one near me, but maybe you can take a look and maybe you can get yourself an amortal chamber. I believe because we did a lot of research on this in the summer. I believe you can finance one of them for $3,000 a month. So I don't know what your financial situation looks like either, but you know.
I just told you we got 3-day leftovers in the fridge, man. Ain't no
So
$3,000.
maybe not $3,000 a month. But you know, we'll see if we can. We'll see if the podcast continues to have some success. Maybe we can scrape up an amortal chamber altogether. By the way, I love these hindsight smart guy dorks on the internet. They're like, oh yeah, you guys worried about Matthew Stafford's back? Like, you just slept through August. That was a big story. Right. Like, I can't believe you guys talk about that. Was a big story. It was a big time story.
Yes.
By the way, like, yeah, we're hoping he makes it through the season. That would, like, fingers crossed, because we want to continue to see this, because I think this can keep up. Matthew Stafford, by the way, 63% rostered in Yahoo leagues right now. Like, he's not even fully out there on every single team. You know, he is still a guy that you can pick up, like, if potentially in some of these leagues and start. I have in one of my leagues last week, I picked him up and started him because wasn't sure about my quarterback situation. I had Brock Purdy and was kind of screaming. I'd been using Marcus Mariota because he was playing well, and it was like, all right, well, shoot, I guess I'll start Stafford on Thursday night, and that ended up working out. And he's just a guy that, like I said, is pretty wide, not over 50%, but is widely available in leagues right now. And the reason I think this can keep up, Ray, is because they just I don't want to be overly dramatic about this, but I truly think they have a perfect 1-2 combination right now for modern NFL football in terms of the wide receiver position. Where Puka Nacua wins is that money area of the field, 10 plus air yards over the middle, in between the numbers, all the fun stuff. And then Devontae Adams is still a one-on-one ISO route runner with the best of them, you know, and can win at the X receiver duties. And Stafford is a guy who throws into tight windows, and Nacua is such a confident catcher over the middle. As long as these three guys are healthy, I do think we can continue to see Matthew Stafford put up top 10 fantasy quarterback production, and the offensive line as well. There's a lot of ifs, but I do think that can sustain itself. I don't think this is a 2-week fluke.
No, I don't believe so either. And I don't have the Rams defensive numbers pulled up. I know they're a good defensive unit. I'm not saying they're a bad defensive unit, but I don't believe they're like this top. Houston's only allowing 12 points per game. So, yeah, the environment, right, offensively, 100% set. Stafford, Nacua, Devontae Adams has opened things up. Tutu has his role, Kyron Williams. But the defense also has to be willing to provide the offense some opportunity to get on the field. And without looking at the Rams' defensive numbers, I just don't believe that they're this elite defensive unit. So you are going to have games in which this is the best division in football. Even though the Cardinals are down there, they should be ashamed of themselves for that loss, too. They should be. You should be ashamed if you're a Cards fan, right? But outside of Arizona, best division in football, they're going to have to keep foot on the gas. I do think that as long as he's healthy and upright, this is absolutely sustainable. Absolutely.
That's a great point by you, because the Rams secondary is still pretty problematic, even if the pass rush is good. So that's going to keep them in these game scripts. So they got to keep firing. So, all right, let's get to our fifth and final data points here. Ray, hit me with yours.
All right, fifth and final data point is this connection's for real. I know we went back and forth with Booty and Diggs early in the season, but I'm digging it now. And the connection with he and Drake Maye is booming right now. We just saw these guys on Sunday Night Football deliver a sort of welcome to the NFL moment for Drake Maye, even though he didn't have a lot of fantasy production, but he was 8 for 10 on throws, 10 plus yards down the field, leads the league in completion percentage rate on those throws at almost 70%, 68.8%. He's 33 of 48 on 10 plus yard throws down the field. The league rate, the league average amongst qualified passers is right at about 48%. So this connection between Diggs and Maye, and I just went to look at the usage for Diggs since week 3, week 4, week 5, the last 3 games, one of the highest Trinity scores on my table in our model, 7.44. That's right at sort of high-end wide receiver 1 usage threshold for Stephon Diggs. So in an offense where they're still trying to figure a lot out, you know, who's going to run the ball, who's the primary ball carrier, how much do we run the ball? The one thing that I am fairly certain of right now, Matt Harmon, on Tuesday, October the 7th, is Stephon Diggs is Drake Maye's number 1 target. And in a weird way, man, like just in a weird football way, it kind of feels like Diggs is providing, to a lesser degree, because he's not the same player he was in 2020, but the same thing that Josh Allen needed in 2020. And here's why I remind people. It's easy today to look at Josh Allen and be like, MVP, he's a stud. I've been doing this long enough to remember going into his 3rd year, there were a lot of people out there saying, does this dude even deserve another contract with Buffalo? They tried to get Antonio Brown. That fell through for about 4 hours, and they ended up getting Stephon Diggs.
What
and
a day.
Was able
what
to
a day
help
that was.
Josh. What a day, right? You remember that, right? but he was
I
able to
remember
help
that.
Josh Allen go to another level. I having some veteran presence like Diggs there for Drake Maye, like this is really good for Maye. And it's showing that right now on the field.
I mean, I couldn't agree more with everything you said. It's a lot of what I said after the Sunday Night Football solo recap here on the show, man. It's just it's not the same degree, like you said, because Diggs is not the same player, but a guy who can separate at all three levels, can be super reliable. Diggs doesn't separate downfield as much as he used to back in the day consistently against like man coverage on the outside, but he still beats man coverage underneath. He still beats man coverage in the intermediate area. He's settling in the right spot every single time, giving Drake Maye a reliable target. And man, the hands on Diggs, I think, are still so underrated. He is just consistently catching off the right shoulder every single time, positioning himself for yards after the catch. That's been shocking to me, is seeing how good he's been after the catch so far this year too. So like Steph Diggs is a locked-in fantasy starter right now, Ray Garvin, and it's only going to help Drake Maye to continue to be a QB1.
100%. And my gripe for Diggs was not his skill set in particular. It's the same issue. I just took a stance this year. ACL recoveries, Achilles, anybody coming back from something like that, I just didn't want him, right? I was just like, I don't want to deal with it in year one, but he's come back. He looks strong, and it took him a little bit to ramp up, but now that he feels like that was a big moment for him. I think it's like all of those concerns, it's okay to be wrong as long as you can acknowledge that and then make the pivot. And the pivot that I've personally made is, Diggs is locked and loaded. This is Drake Maye's guy. It's not Booty. It's not Hunter Henry. It should be Stephon Diggs going forward. He looked phenomenal on Sunday.